There is a woman on this app, and she is sharing a story about her mother. And she's talking about how her mother is essentially a nudist. And trigger warning, by the way, her mother walks around the house nude, even as an adult. They, she and her siblings have become accustomed to seeing her mother in the nude. She also shares another side of that story, is that wasn't already concerning enough, in how she talks about how her mother has nude photos of her as a baby on Facebook, and will still continue to send out, those nude baby photos of her, on a yearly basis. And I'm here to tell you that if your parent is doing that, they have some predatory sexual behaviors. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I've been counseling women and men who have experienced abuse, as well as those who are perpetrators of abuse and other violent crimes. And again, I didn't tag or stitch that video out of respect. If I'm sure you guys can find it if you really wanted to find it. It had generated a lot of buzz, but she's up there talking, and she's talking about, this young woman is talking about her mother sharing nude photos of her on a yearly basis. She will send naked photos of her and siblings via the Facebook app and whatnot. And, and she's like concerned because she feels like, it is child pornography, and which it is, right? Even if it's of you, even if it's of, other siblings and things like that. And she's like, she doesn't really know how to navigate that conversation with her mother. And she's concerned about, maybe the legalities of things. Even if it's a picture of you, your siblings and things like that, the fact that your mother feels the need to share this, with yourself and post it publicly. Her mother's also posting it publicly on Facebook for, her friends and other people to see. And so that is very concerning behavior. It's abusive, it's assaultive, and it is predatory, and it is, in my opinion, it's a sex offender mentality, because I'm not sure what the laws and rules are in other countries, but when you're in the United States, you know it's very clear, and I'm actually surprised that social media hasn't flagged her mother's distribution of that, right? Because that then becomes a federal crime, like when you're distributing and things like that. And I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a law enforcement officer, but I did work with sex offenders for a long time. Um, and so, there is this nuance between, for her, that she's trying to almost like defend, like, my mother's a nudist. This is just her and who she is. And so that is somewhat normal, but now it's bordering this point where I now know that it's weird, and like, she's posting it publicly on her Facebook page, nude photos of myself and other children in the family and whatnot. And so, whenever, if anybody out there is listening to this, and you watch this, please know that that is predatory behavior. It is abusive to you, because anybody who lives lives in the United States, you know what you're doing, unless you live under a rock, and you just, there's you may have come from another country, but even then, I still don't know where that kind of stuff would be acceptable for you to publicly post nude photos. So in my opinion, professional opinion, her mother is quite aware of what she's doing. Her behavior is predatory. She is doing that deliberately to degrade you, infantilize you, and keep you in a place where you feel small and under her thumb. Because one of the things that I've noticed is, like, she doesn't even feel comfortable telling her mother to stop doing that. And that is how predators work. It doesn't matter if it's your mother, your dad, or whomever. there is never a point where like you should get to in your life as an adult that you say, I'm not okay with you sharing that. Like that's not appropriate. Hey, don't send me messages like that. That is a crime. I can get in trouble. You can get in trouble. And really you have no business distributing our private family photos like that. What are you trying to do? But, predators will continue to push the envelope because one, they feel entitled. Two, they know your buttons, right? They created those buttons. So they know that even though they push things to the limit, they're banking on you not speaking up and you not saying anything and you not checking their behavior, right? And that's that level of entitlement. And three, there is something about that is very much embedded in attention seeking. Oh, look at me, look at my child. So, very similar to what I've talked about in terms of parents who use their children for social media. This is another nuance of that. It's like, okay, by putting my child out there, that is going to garner me. That's going to allow me to have some level of attention, right? And that's going to bring um, that sort of attention towards me because I'm gonna use my child as like fishing bait, and I'm gonna throw my lure out there, and I'm gonna reel in whatever it brings me, and that is attention seeking. And that's abuse by proxy, where you're using your child to sort of garner that attention. And it's so wrong on so many levels. And I feel bad for this young lady, to say the least. But um, she, if again, I don't know her, but if I were her, I would certainly speak up because, now you put it out there on TikTok and all these, I'm sure her video's gotten well over a million views now. But now you've gotten all this attention, so you may want to, and I don't know what type of enforcement agency that TikTok has, but most social media has enforcement agencies that are kind of looking at things and flagging things for inappropriateness. Um, so, heaven forbid if TikTok has that sort of enforcement agency and is able to track this young lady and her mother, you might find yourself in a world of trouble. I hope that helps. Thank you guys so much. Take care.